Oh hey, Jeremy here from Long Speed Marine. We're back on the C50 and today I'm going to get the motor put in, so let's get into this. Okay, so I got to get the motor out and set the motor in here because I want to make sure that I don't have to modify any of this stuff with the motor. Hopefully I don't. Hopefully it'll fit in here. I'm just looking at from where the motor mounts are to where the firewall is. It might be kind of tight because obviously I've pulled this cab forward. So I'm just hoping that's not the case and we don't run into any issues there. So if there is, I mean, I can always shim this cab up. Maybe the height will help or something, probably not. This area in the cab obviously is sunken in, so hopefully my distributor will fit in that area. But that's what I've got to do now. I've got to try and get this area sorted out and get the motor set in there just to make sure that it's going to fit. So I got to pull the cab, well, I got to pull the truck forward and get into my storage area back there so I can drag the motor out. And so let's stop talking and get to it. All right, so here's the motor I'm using. This is just a basic 350 turbo 400 transmission. It is the truck transmission, so it's got a bolt-on yoke at the back. You can often tell that by looking if the back of the tail housing, oftentimes a lot of the turbo 400s that you find out there will be truck transmissions. And if you try to put a standard slip yoke in the back, it'll only go in so far and then the splines bottom out. So what you actually have to do is machine in about an inch. If you want to use one of these in a car, you just have to machine in about an inch on the yoke. There's still lots of threads in there. It'll be just fine. We've done it many times over the years. So just get the drive shaft shop to machine off about an inch of the splines on the inside of the yoke, and then you can slide a normal yoke in the end of there. But being that this is a truck, this is a dually, I've got that style drive shaft to go in here with basically the front section is fixed. There'll be a slip yoke in the second section going out the back. So I need this style. Anyways, this came out of the Suburban that I scrapped. That also was on the channel here. I'll put a link above if you want to see that mess. So that's where this came from. That's really, I thought I might rebuild that Suburban, but as you could see in that video, it was a mess. So happy to take the motor out. I know the motor didn't run very good, but I think it had to do with this carburetor that's on here. But I'm not using any of that. I will be doing a refresh on it, throwing a camshaft in it, and probably putting a really trick intake on this with fuel injection actually. So we're going to get this thing set in there. First thing I've got to do is put the motor mounts on. So I've got to take these motor mount cups off and put the older truck style mounts on here so that we can bolt it to the frame mounts that's on that truck. So let me get into doing that. All right, so here's the motor mount that I'm using on this because this is that, I think it went farther, but this is definitely 67, 72 truck. I think a lot of those older trucks had this style mount. So it's just 3 bolts onto the block and then 1 main bolt right in the center. And that's what is on the truck there, the pads that are on the truck, so that's why I'm using these. right, so I'm fighting with this stud thing, whatever, coming off from where the emission stuff was on this manifold. So it's just hitting the brake booster there. So I'm going to cut that off. What the hell is that made of? Man, I don't know what this thing's made of. It is just destroying these blades. Wow. All right, let's try this. There we go. I should have taken these manifolds off. I'm not using them. Oops. Come on. Come back. Just gotta get past this manifold on the mount. It might be alright. What am I stuck on now? All right, I might have to take out that other cross member. I think that's what I'm hitting. What am I booming on? So it's got the original cross member there for the 4-speed transmission, and I'm just stuck between the bell housing and that cross member. So I may need to get that cross member out of there. I was hoping I didn't have to, but it looks like that's pretty much what I'm stuck on right now. Shoot, okay. Guess I gotta pull this back out. All right, well, I've got to cut that cross member off, so I'm gonna use the big gas axe and get in there and hack it off, and then when I pull the cab back off, I'll get the rivets out and clean the rest of it off. But for now, I just want to hack it off so I can ram this motor in and see if it's all going to fit. Where's my Sparky? There it is. There we go. Perfect. All right, so got that hacked out, and it's not pretty, but like I said, I'll clean that up once I get the cab back off when I'm welding in those other mounts. So I'll pull that back off and knock the rivets right out of those and just get them right out of there. I was hoping I didn't have to pull that cross member out because it just adds a bit of support, but guess I'm going to have to, so that's okay. And now we'll get the motor swung over and back in and see if it fits now. I hope so. down there. Oh, what's going on now? Oh, maybe those manifolds won't work. Interesting. All right, shoot, now I got to take the manifolds off. Let me show you what's happening here. All right, so these exhaust manifolds are hitting the top of these mounts. And I think that's what's holding me up. At least it is on the other side. This one is definitely hitting that manifold. And I don't think I'll be able to get that in there. I'm not running these manifolds. I'm running a set of headers. Hopefully the headers are going to work. Maybe it will fit. I don't know. I don't think so. As I'm stuck. Oh, maybe I'm stuck back there on the cross member. Oh dear. All right, let's try something else. Well, what do we think the chances are that these manifold bolts are going to come out? Oh, I doubt it. But I've been surprised before. Let me get a hammer. Did that break, or did that come off? That came off. Wow. Miracle. I don't know if I can get my socket back out. Come on. Okay, give me my socket back. Oh, for Pete's sake. Well, all those bolts came out nice and easy, so now we can hopefully slide this back in. And now hopefully it'll fit. Maybe. Okay. Let's just go a little bit further. Go. Now I can go down. Well, the valve cover hits. My distributor will clear, I hope. Looks like. Just that valve cover is holding me up. So what are we doing now? We're going to make it fit. All right, let's see what that did. That did it. Maybe I need a little bit more actually. Just need a tiny bit more. Lower on the bottom. But I think that's all gonna work. We got clearance here. We got room to the distributor. I can fit my whole hand in behind the distributor. So that's good. This side's really close. It's actually just sitting in the same spot on both sides. So if I get this side clearance, then the whole thing will go back a bit and we should be good. Where did I put my pry bar now? Shoot. Now, the real tricky part with these motor mounts is lining up that one little tiny hole. I don't know where I'm at the moment. I think I'm too far back. I need just a small screwdriver to get in there. All right, so here's where we're at. The motor is in, sort of. The distributor is hitting the back of the firewall. The transmission bell housing is hitting the floor on the transmission hump just slightly, and the valve cover is clearanced-ish. So what I'm gonna do is take the cab off now because I have to finish welding all those mounts on. And when I put the cab back on, what I'll do is I will add some spacers to it. So when the cab is off, I'll get the motor mounted in the chassis. I'll make my transmission cross member as well. And that'll be good. The transmission will be set in. And I'll lower the cab back down and figure out how high of a mount I need to put in there, spacer to space it up. Now that the motor is in and the frame is sitting down, I mean, to the running boards, I don't have much clearance to the bottom of the running boards, so it wouldn't be a terrible thing if this came up anyways. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to raise the cab up a bit on the chassis because I want to just leave the chassis where it is. So here's my running board to the ground, and I want a little bit more clearance than that. This is going to have air ride on it, but I'd like to have a little bit more clearance than that. This is a 2x4, it's cut down, or 2x6. So that's basically, I've got 6 inches, which sure is okay, but I'd like to have just a little bit more than that, a little bit more adjustability in that. So if I raise the cab up, it's not the end of the world. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you follow along with this build, all my other ones. Smash that like, leave me a comment down below. You know what to do, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks very much and take care.